Hi, this is Chris talking. Today we're talking about the UNO Synth Pro from IK Multimedia. It has been on the market for a little while, so today what I'm going to talk about main features, oscillator, filter, effects, and how they tie together and a couple of things like that. The UNO Synth Pro has 3 oscillators and just the single filter chain and amplifier chain, so it's not a polyphonic synth as such, it's paraphonic, so it actually has the ability to play up to a 3-note chord, but they are processed through the same filter and amplifier, or filters I should say, and amplifier. The filter section, it actually has 2 filters and they can be run parallel or in series, and the first of the 2 filters is a progression from the original UNO synth filter, which is an OTA style filter, sort of the type that was found on the early Junos and Jupiters, and this one is a 2-pole filter, and it can be in low pass or high pass mode. Now the second filter is actually based on one of the SSI filters, the style that Dave Rossum was involved with, and it can be 2 or 4 pole, but it's a low pass filter. Now the oscillator, going back to that, we'll give it a bit more of a oomph to it. This is a single oscillator, it's a very basic patch. And what you will find is the oscillator itself is a continuous style of waveform. So if you look on the screen, I'm going to show you through the editor. It's going from a triangle through to a sawtooth, and then through to a square, and then through the square to an adjustable pulse width, so the duty cycle can be adjusted, and obviously from hearing that you can imagine pulse width modulation going on there. Cool thing about it is you can have adjustable pulse width modulation going to triangle to sawtooth or sawtooth to square as well, so all of those are possible within the matrix modulation section. Now each oscillator has, I'll get that sawtooth back first. Each oscillator has the ability to obviously adjust its volume individually, which is with the mix section. And with the mix section, each section is labelled as level. We have a single oscillator going at the moment, but if I bring up that level of the second oscillator, let's get a little bit analog here. You can hear that very nice beating between the 2 oscillators. I'll open up the filter a little bit. You can hear that going on there. Now we'll go back to the mix section's 3rd oscillator. As I said, this is keeping it very, very basic at the moment, but with 3 oscillators. Now, if I jump back to the oscillator section, we can jump down to the tunings of the 3. And we'll put that one up and down. Now, if I show you the filters, you'll see that the 2 filters, the first filter, the OTA filter, is being bypassed. The second filter is in a 4-pole low-pass style. So you can actually hear what's going on there. Jumping back to the mixer section, level 1, level 2, level 3, the 3 oscillators. And there's also the noise generator there, if you want to ever add that in to give it a bit of a dirty sound. We'll leave it about there. While I'm exploring this basic sound section, what I will do is go across to the effects so that you can actually hear that nice basic sound. And what I'll do on screen is I will switch over to the effects section so that you can see the types of effects that are available. What we have is delay. I'll start from the wrong end. And we'll add in a little bit of reverb. Now the reverb section has Hall, plate, reverse and spring, so quite a bit of variety and a great ability to get a little bit of ambience going on with all the different sounds. Now I'll pop that one down again and we'll step back one and go into the delay section. Now with the delay section, of course, you have a mono delay, a stereo delay, the doubler, the ping, or the left, center, right. Doubler. Now you can set the two left and rights in the stereo to two separate times, so you can ping pong delay, of course, your mono and your left, center, right. So lots of choice with the delay section. Now the modulation section, we've got chorus, we've got phaser, flanger, and the ability to assign them to two different synth sections. So adding a bit of chorus, switch between the flanger and the phaser once again so you can hear those quickly. We won't dwell on them too long. Take that one out. Now first but not least, the analog drive. An analog circuit that gives it a nice nasty edge to the sound, and those are the four effects that are actually on board, so you've got quite a nice little selection going on there to add that extra little bit of ambience to your sound. Okay, now that's the basics of it. As I said, you've got two envelope generators, so you've got the filter envelope and you've got the amplitude envelope there, and they are ADSRs as we know them. And I'll switch back to the engine window there so you can actually see the fact that if I was to mess around with one of the, you can see what's going on the screen over there as well. Now, messing around with the presets. If I go back over to the preset mode here, what you'll find is you can very slowly and carefully work your way through, find a preset, select it, which tends to get a little bit tedious if you're moving around between sounds quickly. So the 16-step sequencer that's along the front there that you can see the 16 buttons, it's actually 64-step because it's got 4 pages, but the 16-step programmer actually allows you, or doubles up as the sound selections as well, so you can select presets just by pressing the button and jumping between them. Now I'm going to jump over to number 3 there, which is actually pull. Classic Carnival 9 kind of sound there with the glide and all of that sort of stuff, portamento if you want to call it that. And as I work my way through, we've got the ability to jump between these different sounds quickly, as I said. Now, between the three oscillators, you actually have a sync function. And with oscillator sync, what you can actually do is you can sync oscillator 2 to 1, you can sync oscillator 3 to 1, or you can sync 2 and 3 to 1. So you can create some pretty nasty sounds. Now, while I'm in the filter envelope, the filter envelope is being used to modulate the synced oscillator. So we can create some pretty nasty noise that way. Now, while I'm here, let's switch over to the matrix page in the editor. And what you will see is how the different sections are tied together. So, for example, we can see that on screen we've got the aftertouch assigned to the filter 2 cutoff. So get that bite going at the bottom there, velocity going to the volume, mod wheel, traditional kind of modulation effect on the wheel there, and LFO1 to the pitch, etc, etc. So you can see the way those things are combined. Now, jumping across quickly. So you can see with a quick play with the sequencer there, the type of, or the range of sounds that you can actually get out of the unit itself. So once again, for that paraphonic style of synthesis, it's actually quite a nice rich sound that you can get out of it. While I'm here, I'm just going to whack in a little bit of extra reverb from the Amplitude X Space. This is for Andy. He wanted to hear what it sounded like through more effects. Reverb for Andy. There's a little bit of built-in reverb as well. Over to UK Love. Now we'll refer back to the matrix again. In this situation, what we've got actually going on, the focus of the sound UK Love is LFO number 2 is assigned to the rate of LFO number 1. So it will do once again, big nasty sounds available to us. So you can actually hear the type of... The way I've got this set up, by the way, is the synth is going straight through an interface and without any processing at all, and straight into an iRig Duo. So that's being fed into my iPhone. So not a complex setup, no external processing, apart from using the X Space reverb before. That's it. Now, now this one here, I've called this after reverb because the sound doesn't have any effect on it except for aftertouch. reverb. So when I lean into it, I'm able to add in that little bit of reverb tail. Just to give you an idea of the kind of variety you can get out of the machine here. Once again, some nice pad sounds. Once again, that little aftertouch trick into the effects. This time I'm using a delay on it, so. And this last sound that I've got here, showing you the SSI filter in self-oscillate mode, so. There's no oscillator involved in there. My mixer section is pretty much all off. So that's coming from the filter. So you can get that little extra high harmonic on organ sounds and things like that if you need it, using the self-oscillating filter, or you can just do crazy effects. And finally, we're talking about the pulse width modulation side of things. What I've done with this particular sound is I have assigned the filter envelope to work on all three oscillators' waveforms, so they will all actually change the duty cycles as the sound develops. Of course, you could do that with an LFO, which is a traditional way of doing pulse width modulation, but modulation can come from an envelope generator as well. So you can hear the kinds of effects that you can actually do with that. That's kind of all I need to tell you about. Couple of other things, I guess. We talked about the three oscillators internally. There is also an external input, so you can actually process other things through the filter chain. And it also has ring modulation then if you need to make clangy bell kind of sounds and things like that. It's all possible with the UNO Synth Pro. Thanks for listening.